The sun's out, you got some spare time, it's time to take your puppy to the beach. This will be one of the most fun days in the puppy's whole life, but there are 7 things that you need to know before you go to make the puppy's day absolutely perfect. Up first, you've got to bring the right stuff. Make a packing list, check it twice, bring everything that you need and have it planned out in advance so that on the day, all you have to worry about is looking after your puppy, making sure that puppy has fun and enjoys its time in the sun and sand. You need to have a waterproof harness. We're lucky because our everyday walking and hiking harness is waterproof. That's awesome. But if not, you need to either have a waterproof collar or a waterproof harness ready to go because you want to be leaving that on while the dog swims and runs around. You're going to need a leash. You're going to need some poo bags as well. That's vitally important. More on that in a little bit. You're also going to need to bring some cool, fresh water. You don't want to bring a bottle of water that's going to be left out in the sun and get really, really hot. The next thing you got to bring is some toys that can be shared with other dogs. They're not too fussed about if they go walkabout or if they get lost in the ocean. What we did is we went to local pet store, one right near the beach, and we picked up a waterproof, puppy-proof tennis ball. This was a smash hit. Lots of other dogs played with it. We ended up bringing that tennis ball home with us, and it's one of Max's favorite balls now, which is awesome, but it was a cheap one, and if it did end up getting lost, we wouldn't have been too fussed about it. You'll need to bring towels for the puppy, towels for you, because like it or not, even if you want to avoid getting wet, you're going to get splashed at some point in time. You're also going to need to bring either a towel or a blanket for a very tired puppy to sleep on the way home. It's really important that you have some puppy shampoo at home, because if you don't, it can lead to real troubles for your puppy's skin and coat. All right, now we're at the beach. Ready to have fun, right? Nah, we still have to find out what the local rules are and obey them. You really do need to follow the local rules. We're there to have fun, we don't want to rock the boat. If there's an off-leash area, like in Australia, we've got a lot of dog beaches that are specifically off-leash. You can let your dog run free. That's fantastic. But if it is a regular beach and they say keep your dog on a leash, you got to protect the environment. Some places have strict laws saying, for example, keep off the dunes. There's plenty of beach to go around for the puppies, so don't go into any areas that are blocked off to protect the wildlife. You should always keep your dog with an identification collar or harness. Even if it's not a law, this is just common sense. Sometimes people take off the collar, they take off the harness because the dog's going in the water and they don't want to get them wet. This is not a great idea. Or they have a special new waterproof harness because someone on YouTube told them to get one. If you're that unlucky that your dog does escape, run away, or go missing, you want to have someone there straight away with the name, the phone number, ready to give you a phone call and get your puppy back to you. There's a lot going on at the beach, pretty much all the time. You've got to keep a razor eye focus on your dog. Absolute laser vision. You need to be on the lookout for rubbish that's on the beach, other dogs' poo that other people haven't cleaned up, or jellyfish debris, fishing line. There's lots of different hazards that you can encounter while you're at the beach. One of the most important things to keep an eye out for is actually other people's dogs. Dog beaches are super social. Most dogs are incredibly friendly. No matter what breed, a dog that's raised in the right way that hasn't been through any trauma is probably going to be perfectly friendly and happy to play with another dog of pretty much any size. If there is a dog that is aggressive for whatever reason and their owner is putting them into a situation where they're going to be aggressive towards your dog or others, you've got to be really, really focused on trying to identify it early. Just stay away. And also, if you meet other small dog owners, just let them know there's an aggressive dog, you've got a puppy, maybe just go to the other side of the beach. One of the things that we do is we announce that our dog's friendly. Sometimes you don't like to walk up to strangers and say, hey, I've got a friendly dog. But if they know that your dog's friendly, they'll say, yeah, my dog's friendly too. And then they can play with each other and run around. Sometimes people will say, oh, my dog's actually a bit grumpy at the moment, so probably steer clear. And that way you can just make sure your dog keeps moving on and finds another dog to play with. Talking owners are happy owners. The more an owner talks to another owner, the easier everything is. You get to avoid problems, have fun, and work together. Part of working together, though, is cleaning up after yourself. You're at a dog beach, so there's going to be dog pee everywhere. It's sand. It's like the ultimate litter box for a dog. They pee all over the place and we just have to deal with that. There's pee everywhere and that's fine. What's not fine is dog poo. You need to clean up your dog poo, put it into a bag and get rid of it. Take doggy bags with you. If you run out of doggy bags, ask another doggy owner. They don't want to see your dog poo left there. They'll be more than willing to help out. There's no excuse to leave dog poo on a beach. Plan for it, get rid of it. Keep it clean. You don't want your dog to smell other dogs' poo. You don't want to step in dog poo yourself. It's a beautiful, pristine environment. Try and keep it that way. The most important tip is number 5. Heat exhaustion. If it's your puppy's first trip to the beach, they're going to be super excited. They will meet other dogs. Typically, they're going to run rounds, play in the waves, hopefully not eat too much sand. They're gonna be really all over the place. If it's summer and you're in a warm country like down under in Australia, you've got to be really mindful that it's a tiny puppy and it's very hot. Some humans love to suntan, sunbank, and spend hours and hours at the beach. Here's a pro tip. Puppies don't like spending that much time at the beach, particularly not when they're small, because they can get overexerted, overheated, and end up really sick. The way that you avoid trouble is making the trip short, sharp, and to the point. You're looking at 45 minutes to 60 minutes, so 1 hour max. You can slowly increase this over time. This is a trip for the puppy. It is going to be super fun for you, but plan for the puppy, not for your own needs. If you are going to be there for longer, or if the puppy is perfectly happy and it's not that hot a day, still make sure that there's shade available. You can take an umbrella, you can set up a tent, you can find a tree. Just make sure that there's plenty of opportunity for the dog to have breaks. You also need to make sure the dog is hydrated the entire time. Constantly give your dog fresh water. Most puppies and dogs don't drink ocean water, which is a blessing, but some do. And if you let them get really thirsty, they're more likely to try and drink ocean water, which never ends too well. Eliminate the risk and keep your puppy super hydrated. You need to watch for signs of overheating in dogs. These include excessive drooling, or more drooling than normal for some dogs, panting as well. It's normal to pant if you've been running around for a bit, but if your puppy is absolutely panting non-stop, even after they've settled down for a little while, it might be time to pack up, head home, get that puppy to cool down and look after them. The other things you need to be on the lookout for is unsteadiness or lack of coordination. A little tiny puppy, when overexerted or is suffering from the start of heat stroke, actually start to lose its footing and be a little bit unsteady. So if your dog is a little bit more clumsy than normal, it's time to try and get them to calm down, take a break, cool down, get some fresh water with them, look after them, make sure that everything's okay. The final thing to be on the lookout for is diarrhea and vomiting. If your dog has diarrhea and vomiting before you go to the beach, don't go to the beach. Cancel the day, stay home, look after that puppy. If your dog develops diarrhea and vomiting while at the beach, it's time to stop immediately, head home, hydrate the dog, make sure that they're cool, and really make sure that they're feeling okay. Monitor them very closely. Okay, enough scary stuff. You've been at the beach for an hour, you've had the most fun in the world, you've run around, you've met some other dogs, everything's been really great. What happens next? Well, it's time to go home. There's no time to head to the cafe or down the road. Take your tired puppy home. Your puppy may not look tired because an excited puppy still might be zooming around, but your puppy is exhausted. They might not seem it, but they absolutely are. And you'll see that soon, because once they nod off to sleep, they're gonna be having a pretty good nap time. There is, however, one final thing standing in between that beautiful puppy and its nap time, and that is grooming. Every time you go to the beach, you're gonna have to groom your dog. If you have a low shedding dog, like a golden doodle or a labradoodle like myself, you're gonna have to do a bit of extra. Shedding dogs still need to be treated, and I'll talk about that in a second, but the non-shedding dogs in particular, you need to be over the top to get rid of the salt water and the sand, otherwise it will damage their coat. And on top of all of that, the sand can get caught in certain areas and actually give really bad skin abrasion and hurt the puppy pretty badly. How do we avoid this? As soon as you're done at the beach, you need to wash down the puppy with some fresh water. The cool water will help cool the puppy down, which helps with the heat exhaustion as well. Sand will be trapped near the skin, underneath the fur, particularly around the collars, and if it's wearing a harness as well, these areas that sand and salt water get caught, if the sand gets caught right against the skin, it's super abrasive. That constant rubbing motion is like sandpaper between the harness or the collar and your dog's skin. It can create real trouble, skin difficulty, and can be really painful for the dog. So we need to rinse away all of the sand straight away before you leave the beach. Once you get home, you've got to give your puppy a shower or a bath using a gentle shampoo. We always try and be mindful not to over-groom our dogs. We don't want to be giving them a shower and a bath every second day. However, every time your puppy goes to the beach, it's going to need to be cleaned, because you don't want that salt water or that sand ruining the coat or causing them grief. After they've had their shampoo, give them an extra rinse just to make sure any sand that's caught there is absolutely gone. Take the harness away, take the collar away if you haven't already. Brush around these areas to make sure that no matting occurs. Matting's when the fur wraps around itself and actually be really uncomfortable for the dog. And those were all the scary and annoying things you needed to know about before you took your dog to the beach. Most importantly, hydrate, have fun, keep it short, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bonus! The worst time to go to the beach is smack bang in the middle of the day when the sun is belting down. Your little tiny puppy is at real risk of heat exhaustion, particularly if it's a very hot day. What you can do is either go really early in the morning if you don't mind waking up, or in the evening. Either of these times, it'll be a lot cooler, which is better for the dog. If you do go in the evening, however, you've got to be super mindful, because your puppy is going to want to eat all the debris it finds on the beach. It might find rubbish, it might find find some jellyfish or some fish. It might find some stinky dog poo. You've got to be really, really careful to make sure that your dog doesn't run and find these things in the beach and try and eat them. And dogs do love to eat that kind of stuff. As the sun sets, your visibility is going to drop off. So if it gets too dark for you to see hazards, it's time for you both to head on home and wake up at 5 a.m. and head back the next morning.